Hey guys, welcome back to What Nature Calls. Today we're making baby back ribs and chicken in the smoker. I use the 3-2-1 method. I'm going to show you how I do it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you tried it. Tell me if you liked the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button down there, and give me suggestions on what you'd like to see next. Okay, so you have to take the inside lining off of these ribs, and sometimes you're going to need a knife to get it started. And once you get it started, it's really not that bad. It's the stomach lining on the bottom of the ribs. Just kind of get it loose a little bit. Get your finger in the, underneath of it. And I know some guys will take and cut this little piece right here and grab a hold of that rib and pull it off, but if you don't get this off, you won't be able to chew through it. And once it starts to go, come right loose. Get it off. Try to get, make sure you get all of it off, because you're definitely not going to be able to chew through it. So you have to put your knife back underneath of it, pull it loose where you get a hold of it. And I'm going to slide this down here. Come up here and take my knife, clean that up a little bit. Make sure I get it all off of there. Now, until the inside skin's all off, looks pretty good, so I'm going to set it on the rack here, and then I'll season them up and show you what I'm doing after that. Okay, so I got the ribs all trimmed up. Now I'm going to use, so you can see that Sweet and Smoky Rub. It's by McCormick. Really like that. And I also like Applewood Rub, also by McCormick. They're both really good flavors. I'll also add garlic powder and onion powder to it. And I'm going to do what a lot of people say is a no-no. I'm going to cover the meat up, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. And a lot of guys will tell you that it dries it out, but I've never experienced it dried out. My ribs always come out tender and juicy. They come right off the bone. So I also have chicken here. I'm going to be doing that too. They all cook at the same temperature. We're going to cook about 225, 250. And I like to do my ribs on what they call a 3-2-1 method. It's 3 hours in the smoker at 225, 250 with the smoke, and then pull them out. We're going to wrap them up in aluminum foil with about a shot and a half of beer. You can use pineapple juice, you can use apple cider vinegar. I've used pineapple juice before, that works really well too. So we want to completely cover this meat up. I don't want to see any more of the meat when I'm done. Completely cover it up. And I'm gonna season the rib side too. And I'm going to do the same thing to the chicken. Completely cover it up. I don't want to see any. And then as it sits in the refrigerator overnight, this kind of soaks up some of that moisture. And so you can see it's already starting to soak up some. Kind of makes like a crust on it. It just turns out really, really well. So after that, tomorrow, I'll be putting them in the smoker. Chicken too. I've even put seasoning up in the body cavity of these chickens, just because that juice in there starts steaming the bird. So you'll see when I put these in, I'm going to put them in breast down, and I'll leave them that way for about 3 hours, and then when I go flip them over, the juices will just pour out of this thing like crazy. This is probably one of my favorite ways to eat chicken. It always comes out tender, and it's just, you got an unbelievable flavor. Again, cover the meat completely. I really don't want to see any of the chicken left, which is hard to do because it's round and stuff falls off. So cover it as best you can. We want that to soak up that flavor of that rub. Okay, well, these sat in the refrigerator overnight. As you can tell, see how they kind of crusted up on that seasoning, even on the chicken. And then I have my foil pack full of my wood chips, which today I'm using apple and cherry wood. And that's generally what I like to use with ribs and chicken and turkey when I smoke them, is some sort of fruit wood. If I was using a more dense piece of meat, like say a brisket or a pork shoulder, I would use hickory because it's got a heavier smoke flavor. But it is like I said, it kind of makes like a crust on them. And I'm going to get the smoker up to 225, and I'll put the chicken in breast down, put the ribs in, and then put water in the tray in the smoker, and then add the foil pack. And if you can see, all I did was poke holes, and I soaked those wood chips in water. There's about 4 cups of wood chips in there. Soaked them for about 45 minutes, put them in the foil pack, poke some holes in it just so that it smokes. And it'll smoke for probably 2 hours like that. And then we're just waiting on the time. We get to smell it for 3 hours before we can do anything else. So we got it up to temp. Now it's time to load it up. Remember I said chicken goes in breast down first. And I'm putting them on the bottom rack because the skin on there gets a little greasy, and I really don't want it dripping all over my ribs. The ribs aren't quite so bad. Put the ribs in, bone down. I could have spaced them out a little bit more. So every time you open the door, you're going to lose some heat. And it was at like 2:30. I opened the door, now it's showing nothing because it was out here in this colder air. It'll go back up. I'm going to babysit this a little bit, make sure that it starts holding 225. And we'll walk off. Set a timer for 3 hours, and we'll come back and check on it. Hey folks, we had a little technical difficulty. The battery died on my camera. So what you missed was me wrapping the ribs in foil and I added beer. You can use whatever liquid you like. A lot of people use apple cider vinegar. Some people, I've even used pineapple juice, but I use beer. Wrap them up in an aluminum foil, seal it shut, because while it's in there for 2 hours, it's going to steam. So that's the only thing you missed. But the next thing you see would be me putting them in. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to put these ribs back in there, but I want you to pay attention to these chickens when I turn them over. Put the ribs back in there in their aluminum foil pouches. I'm going to poke holes in them. Man, those look pretty. Wish you could smell it. So, what I told you was the juices just pour out of this thing. They are so juicy. Ow. And they're hot. Turn them over. We'll close this back up for 2 more hours. Then we'll pull the ribs back out. We'll sauce them up. And then use a meat thermometer to make sure your chicken's done. It should be 160, 165 degrees internal temperature. And then we'll be done. So the next thing you'll see is 2 hours. I'll be taking them back out. Okay, we're in the full packs for 2 hours. Now here's what I want to show you. Look how much that it's pulling away from the, let's see if I can turn this where you can see it. The meat's just pulling from the bone, and it's starting, the meat's starting to split in spots, which is a good thing. So they're just steamed in there, and now that meat's pulling away from the bone, so they should be good and tender. But we gotta sauce them back up, and we're gonna put sauce on them and put them back in the smoker for another hour, and then they'll be ready to eat. So here's the chicken done, and this is how tender this stuff turns out. You don't need a knife at all. It comes right apart. We're gonna come over here to the ribs. Look at that. Pulling away from the bone, good and tender, good and juicy. I'm gonna show you how tender they are. You don't need a knife. They come right apart. They come clean off the bone. Hope you saw that. Come right off. Didn't use a knife. So next is, how do I know? I guess the big test would be, how does it taste? So I'll let you know in just a second. Man, that's good. 3 hours on the smoke, 2 hours in the foil with the beer, 1 hour back in the smoker, covered in sauce. Pulls away from the bone. Bone comes clean. I'm telling you, if you do it this way, you're going to impress some people. It's really, really good. And women like men that can cook. They really like men that know how to handle their meat. Never forget that.
Seriously. Where do you even come up with this stuff?
See you next time.